So is it visible now?
Yes.
Okay. So what I was trying to tell you is, so we will see what is a class variable, and we shall see what is an instance variable, and we shall also see one very important concept in object oriented programming. We call it as an constructor. Okay, this is a very important concept as far as OOPS is concerned, and it is also important as far as interview is concerned also, because they'll ask you a lot of questions on constructors. Okay, very simple concept. Try to understand this. So I will revisit the definition of a class now. So in the last class we saw what is a class. We know that a class has got two sections. The first section is your property section, and the second section is called as a method section. Now this, putting this property and method together within a class is called as encapsulation. Now what we are doing, what we are trying to understand is, we are trying to understand first what is the meaning of this instance variable. First we shall understand what is this instance variable, then we shall see how to understand what is a class variable. Okay, we will take an example of this class as employee. I will take this name of the class as employee, considering that there are two properties for an employee class. So we will take the first property as EMP number. This is the first property, and I have a second property called, say, salary. So these are the two properties of my employee class. Now there will be some two methods also. We will see what are those two methods. The first method is called as, say, assign EMP number, or I'll say assign values. The first method is called as assign values. This is one method of that particular employee class, and the second method is called as show values. This is the second method of the employee class. Okay, now, so now the employee class has got two properties. One is called the employee number and salary, and there are two methods. The first method is called the assign values method, and the second one is called as the show values method. Now we can start creating objects now. Let's create an object called Anil. Now for this Anil object, I want to assign the employee number, I want to assign the salary. If I want to do that, from the Anil object, I have to basically call this assign values method. This assign values method in turn will assign values to employee number, and it will in turn assign values to employee salary. Similarly, now I can call another object or create another object called as Kiran. So if I do that, then using the Kiran object, again I can call the assign values method. So what will this assign values method will do? It will assign the value for EMP number, it will assign the value for salary for Kiran. Now using the Anil object, I'll call the show value method to display the employee number and salary for Anil. Using the Kiran object, I am going to call the show value method, which is going to display the value of employee number for Kiran and salary for Kiran. Now we call this employee number and salary as instance variables. The reason here is instance basically means object. We know what is the definition of an object. An object is nothing but an instance of a class. So what is an instance variable? The instance variable means it's an object variable. That's all. Anil is an object. So for Anil, there will be a separate employee number, there will be a separate salary, and for Kiran, there will be a separate employee number, there will be a separate salary. So you may have one instance variable called employee number and salary. That instance variable will take multiple values, one for Anil and one for Kiran. Like this, you can have any number of objects. So you can have one more object called as Vinay, and Vinay also will have an employee number and salary. Now this is the context. I am setting it to you. How do you achieve this in object oriented programming? How do you write a program for this is what we are going to see now. Okay, now let's go to PyCharm. Okay, so what I will do is I'll just remove all this stuff. We'll create a new class. So first I'll create a class called employee. So I'll call it as class EMP, or employee is the name of the class. Okay, now I told you that this employee class will have two methods. So what are those two methods? One is called the assign values method, and second one is called as the show values method. Okay, let's go and define those methods now. So I'll say define assign values. So I'll just give x comma y here. We'll understand what is this x comma y now. Then I will say emp, okay, we'll say self dot emp number equals x, and self dot salary equals y. Okay, I'll tell you what exactly is this. Okay, then I'll define one more method called show values. Show values. So in this show values, I am going to print the value of employee number and value of salary. So I'll say print, say emp number equals self dot emp number, and print salary equals, then I'm going to say self dot salary. Okay, now that completes my class. So what I have done basically here, I have created a class called employee. So let me remove that additional p there. I have created a class called employee. In that employee class, I have given two methods, assign values and show values. What is this self dot emp number, self dot salary? You will understand in few moments from now. So just at this point of time, know that there are two methods in this class called employee. Now what do we do next? We have to create these two objects. One is an Anil object and second one is the Kiran object. So let's create those objects now. So I'll say Anil is equal to employee, that is the first object. Then I have another object called Kiran is equal to employee. Now that is the second object. So I have created two objects. Now I have to assign employee number and salary for Anil, and I have to assign employee number and salary for Kiran. So in order to do that, I have to call this method called assign values. So what I will do, I'll say Anil dot assign values, and I am going to supply the value for x and y only. Self is different. I will tell you what is the meaning of that self now. I am going to give only the values of x and y. So the value of x gets into EMP number and the value of y gets into salary. So let's say that Anil's employee number is 101 and salary is 10,000. So his employee number and salary is assigned. Similarly, I have one more employee called Kiran. I am going to call the same assign values method, and I am going to pass 102 and I am going to pass the value as 15,000. Okay, now I have assigned values for Anil and Kiran, employee number value and the salary value. Now what you have to do next? You have to basically display the values what you have actually initiated. So to do that, using the Anil object, I will call the show values method, and using the Kiran object, I will call the show values method. So this program is complete now. So now when you run this particular program now, you are getting output. So you are getting employee number is equal to 101, salary is equal to 10,000, employee number is equal to 102, salary is equal to 15,000. So now how is this whole program working? First of all, you created a class called employee. In this employee class, you have got two methods, assign values and show values. Now, what you are trying to do here is, when you say assign Anil dot assign values 101 comma 10,000. So it is a very straightforward Python statement. What it is doing, it is calling this assign values method, no doubt about it. It is passing 101 to x, it is passing 10,000 to y. So what does this self mean? Self means the current object. What is the current object now? The current object is Anil. Because using the Anil object, you are actually calling the assign values method. So that means this whole assign values function becomes Anil comma 101 comma 10,000. That means Anil dot emp number is equal to 101, Anil dot salary equals to 10,000. So what does this mean? So when you come to the Jamboard here, you can see that for Anil, you have two values. One is employee number, which is equal to 101, and salary, which is equal to 10,000. So this portion is basically initialized by the assign values method. So now for the Anil object, the values are initialized. Now similarly, what you are doing, from the Kiran object, you are calling the assign values method. So now what happens, again the same method will be called. So self becomes Kiran now, 102 becomes x, 15,000 becomes y. So Kiran dot employee number equals to x, Kiran dot salary equals to y. That means for Kiran the employee number is 102, and for Kiran the salary becomes equals to 15,000. So these two values are also assigned now. So what we have to do is, we have to assign these two values. So I'll just write it here. So employee number becomes 102 for Kiran, and salary becomes equal to 15,000 for Kiran. Okay, now, so two variables have been initialized, two object instance variables have been initialized, one for Anil and one for Kiran. So now we can understand what is an instance variable now. EMP number and salary are instance variables. They are getting two different values, and how are these values different from each other? It depends upon from which object they are accessing. Okay, now what I am doing next, I am showing the values. So what I am trying to do, I am telling Anil dot show values. That means using the Anil object, I am calling this show values method. So when I call the show values method, see there is a parameter called self. That means immediately the self becomes Anil here. So print emp number is equal to self dot emp number, which means Anil dot emp number. So what is Anil dot emp number? 101. That will be printed. Similarly, print self dot salary, which means Anil dot salary. What is that? It is 10,000. So that will be printed. Similarly, you are going to call this show values method from Kiran object. So in this case, self dot emp number means Kiran dot emp number. So what is Kiran dot emp number? That is 102. And what is Kiran dot salary? Kiran dot salary is 15,000. So like this, you basically created two instance variables within the class, and you started giving the values to those instance variables, and you displayed those values from the show values method. So this is the code for this particular diagram. So is this concept clear now? Venkat?
Yes, sir.
No doubt? Venkat?
Yes, Babu, I just have one question here.
Tell me.
So here, both the methods are related. So basically, so only after assigning values, we can show values, right?
Exactly.
So is that how it is going to work? I mean, in every program, let's say there are two functions, two methods there. So do they always have to be interlinked, or how does it work?
See, it depends on what problem you are solving basically. Suppose if you do not want to show the values, if you just want to assign the values, then eliminate the second one.
Mm-hmm.
You can always show the values from a different class after it is inherited.
Okay. So now let's say the first method is logging. and second method is something else altogether.
Ah.
So when I say login,
Hmm.
so does it just take the login details and login time or something and then does not show it, or can you write that program for login once?
No, you see, to write a login screen, it is quite, you cannot actually just do it as simple as what I am showing here. Okay, for that you have to create instance, you have to create session index, you have to create session variable, so many things are there. But in a simplistic form, if I am logging in, okay, what happens, I'll give my username and I'll give my password, correct? So there will be two properties here. One is the username property and second one is the password property, right?
Yeah.
So I will give my username as Balu and password as 123. So that gets initialized. Now I want to check whether that username and password is correct or not. First I have to feed the password. Second I have to check the password whether it is correct or not. Okay. So that portion can be done by this method. What it will do, it will take that username and password, it will check in my database. So I'll have a database. In that database there will be a table. In that table there will be two columns. One is the username column and second one is the password column. So it will check in this particular database. If this username and password is actually correct, then there will be a third method which will say that you have logged in successfully.
Okay. Yeah.
Understood?
Yeah.
So that's how you have to relate all these three.
So now does this have, so the other day you guys were discussing about validation, right? Is this what it is, or is it like
This is not validation. You know what is validation? See, what is validation basically means I have to ensure that, see, now you will generally not give username and password like this, correct? No.
Yeah.
So how will you give? You will have to create a screen. So you'll have to create a login screen, correct?
Yeah.
So in this login screen, you'll have two text boxes, correct? Now whatever you give here as username and password, this has to be taken as input to where it has to take it as input here, assign values, correct? Okay, now you have to ensure that this input is correct and this input is correct. Here I do validation. That is, you will not allow the user to enter blank names. You will not allow the user to enter special characters. That validation I do here.
Got it. Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah, perfect.
So, Venkat and Akshay, concept clear?
Yeah, yes, Bal. I was speaking on mute.
Yes, Bob.
Okay, good. This is good that you have caught it very simply, because generally people find it difficult here. Great. So this is how you actually create an class and an object. Now you understood what is an instance variable. I hope instance variable is very clear. It's a 100% interview question. Take it from me. The moment they start asking you questions on object oriented programming, the first question they'll ask you is, what is an instance variable? So what answer will you give me now? In a layman terms, what's an instance variable?
It's a property.
A property of an object.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, property of an object. Okay, that is very important, because simply if you say property, it becomes very generic. It becomes a class property. But here I want the value for every object. Got it?
Yeah.
Okay, so fine. So now we'll move on to the next section. What I am trying to explain you here is, what is the meaning of this term constructor? Okay, now we shall see what is a constructor. So to understand constructor, you should have understood the previous program. Okay, so we'll see now what is an constructor. See, as the name itself says, constructor, it is constructing something. Very simple. Now you go back to the previous example. You have a method called assign values. What is this assign values method doing? It is assigning the value for employee number and it is assigning the value for salary, correct? So in other terms, you can say that employee number and salary values are constructed by this assign values method. So you can also talk in that terms. But actually I am just trying to give you an example here, but that is not the exact meaning of a constructor. So here assign values is acting as a constructor, that's all, because it is trying to construct the value of employee number and it is trying to construct the value of salary. So using the Anil object, you have to call assign values method and you have to pass the value for employee number and salary. Now what is a constructor now? We shall see. There are some 3 points you have to remember in a constructor. I will tell you one by one. So first of all, constructor, it is a function. Constructor is, it is a function. Just like any other function, constructor also is a function. That is point number 1. Now point number 2, it is not a simple function, it is a special function. It's a special function. So this you have to understand. So constructor is not a simple function, it is a special function. Why it is a special function? Because it is called, okay, very important, it is called automatically. It is called automatically. So you don't have to call a constructor function. See, for here in this example, was this assign values called automatically? No, it was called manually. How it was called manually? Okay, you can see here, you called it manually, Anil.assign values. So using the Anil object, I called the assign values method, which means assign values has been called exclusively by an Anil object. So you have to invoke it by an object. So this is certainly not automatic calling, this is an manual calling. But Python comes with a concept called constructor, where you can reduce this burden, where an method can be called automatically. So there has to be a starting point, like when it will be called. So it will be called when an object is created. So as soon as an object is created, this method is called. So if you take this previous example here, so here when I say Anil is equal to employee, this is the place where an object is created, correct? So you are actually creating an object called Anil. So in this command Anil is equal to employee, you are creating an object. So as soon as this object is created, that constructor will be called. So in that constructor I can construct the values, but here what I am doing, first I am creating the object. After creating the object, I am calling this method manually, Anil.assign values. Now I want to reduce this burden. So what I will do, I will make a constructor. We'll see how to create a constructor. Just understand this. It is called automatically when an object is created. Then point number 3, this constructor will have a separate name. See, for example, assign values, the name was given by you. So basically it is defined by you. You can give whatever name you want. You can say assign value, or you can say assign property. It has to be a valid Python name. So it's a user defined name. But when you are talking of a constructor, the constructor method is predefined by Python. So you don't have any kind of flexibility to give your own name to a constructor. So how does a constructor look like? The method looks like this: underscore underscore double underscore init underscore underscore open bracket close bracket. This is how you basically write a constructor. So whenever you encounter a method like this inside a class, always remember that this method is called as an constructor method. So what is the ideology of a constructor method? It is basically going to construct the value to the object within the class, and it will automatically be called when that object is created. Now using these 3 information, it's a function, a special function. Why it's a special function? Because it is called automatically when an object is created, and it is having a name which is created by Python, which is defined by Python, that is underscore underscore init underscore underscore. Knowing these 3 qualities of a constructor, what we will do is we will change this program, whatever program you have written now, this program we will change it, and we will put a constructor function to this particular program and see how this program works. So what I will do is I will take a new file now. Okay, now what we will do, we will define a class called employee. Okay, so in this I am going to put a constructor function. So what is the constructor function now? So we will say define underscore underscore init. So you can see already that constructor function is coming there. So I'll create init, then I'll say x comma y. Okay. Now I'll say self dot emp number equals x and self dot salary equals y. So my constructor function is complete. Now I'll say define, say show values. So in this I'm going to say print emp number equals self dot emp number and print salary equals self dot salary. Okay, now that completes my class. Now there is a small change when I am creating the object. I told you that here, just observe this. It is called automatically when an object is created. Now we are creating the object. So what we will do, how do I create an object? So I will take the same example, Anil is equal to employee. So I am creating an object here. When I am creating the object itself, I will pass the value. So I will say 101 and 10,000. So now you can see here, while creating the object itself, I am passing the value. You see the previous program, I created an object, then using that object, I call this particular method called assign values. But now what am I doing? I am creating an object. When I am creating an object itself, I am passing this value 101 and 10,000. Similarly here, I will take another object, Kiran. So I will pass the values 102 and 15,000. Now I can say print emp number equals, okay, sorry, I'm sorry for that. I have to say Anil dot show values Anil dot show values and Kiran dot show values. That's it. So now let's run this program now. So it's working. So you can see here very clearly. So when I say Anil is equal to employee 101 comma 10,000, object is created, a constructor is called. This constructor is called immediately. So what happens in this constructor now? 101 will be transferred to X, 10,000 will be transferred to Y, self will become Anil. So that means Anil dot employee number will be equal to 101, Anil dot salary will be equal to 10,000. Similarly, when I create an object called Kiran, automatically the constructor will be called. So in that case, object becomes Kiran. So self becomes Kiran. X and Y values will be 102 and 15,000. That will be initialized to EMP number and salary for the Kiran object. So all the values are initialized now. Instance values have been initialized. Now I am using the Anil object and calling the show values, and using the Kiran object I am calling the show values. So the same program you have written using a constructor. So now you can see that you have cut short the code. You have cut short the code here. See these two lines you have cut short. Okay, see every time you should always understand why constructors came into picture, because it is going to improve the code efficiency. You are cut shorting the code, which means that constructors will also help you to reduce the execution time of the program. Okay, so in this case there are only two objects. Okay, Anil and Kiran. Suppose if there are 100 objects, then for all the 100 objects you should have assign values method. That means 100 extra function calls. 100 extra function calls means, just imagine how much of CPU time will be taken. See, when you are talking of a CPU time, see generally this is my cycle. We call this as a CPU cycle. Okay, this is my one cycle. This is my another cycle. It goes like this. Okay, every instruction will have fetch, execute, fetch, decode, execute and write. See, first that instruction has to be fetched. So this one cycle will first fetch the instruction. After fetching the instruction, the second cycle will decode the instruction. So it will convert that instruction into machine level language. Then it will execute the instruction. So execution will happen in one cycle. Then it has to write the result. So result will have be written in one more cycle. So you are taking, how many cycles you are taking? 4 cycles you are taking. So just imagine now, to execute one function you are taking 4 cycles. So if there are 100 objects, 100 into 4, 400 cycles are lost. So that 400 cycle time will be actually saved by your one constructor method. Always remember this, T is inversely proportional to frequency. So that is why time, that means if the frequency decreases, then the time also decreases, inversely proportional. So the time taken will be decreased. So this is how it goes. So constructors are basically used to ensure that you improvise the code efficiency of the program. Clear? Understood this?
Yeah.
So will you try this program on your own?
Yes, Balu. And before trying that, I just want to explain whatever that you did so that just to understand if I got it right or not. Can you go to the previous program as well?
Yeah, sure. Shall I put it on the chat window?
That also will do, but I just want to explain. I just want to see if I got it right or not. So here, in the first phase, what we've done is we have defined methods. Since methods will be same for all the objects, we first have defined all the methods, right?
Exactly.
And then, so in this first one, and then we have started to create objects, and then we called these methods for the objects. So
yes. Yes.
When it comes to the second program, what we've done is
Yes.
instead of
Anvesh, like, keep it very simple. This method called assign values is eliminated, that's all.
okay.
See this
Yeah.
Anil dot assign values and Kiran dot, these two statements are eliminated.
Okay.
That is because you have a constructor method, that's it.
So basically, since we wrote this, since we defined the constructor before self xy, it got automatically assigned and the output was automatically done as
Exactly. Correct. Perfect. So you don't have to call a method exclusively for constructing the values, which you have done in the previous example.
Okay. So Balu, I have a doubt here.
Ah.
So here, like you said, you gave Anil in the last 4 steps. Like you said, the Anil is equal to employee. You put in numbers, right? So why can't we, do Anil is equal to employee and Anil dot show values in like a one statement? Can't we cut that down?
Come. So what is that you are trying to tell? So if you tell me, I'll remove this. You want me to remove this?
No. Let that be.
Uh-huh.
So you see, Anil is equal to employee and Kiran is equal to employee. You gave some values to it, right?
Correct.
So after that, you did show values
Yes.
for each of them.
Uh-huh.
So can't we write one statement in which you define the values and also show values using this this class thing?
Define the no. See, there are two different methods, no.
No. I'm not saying the upper section. I'm just saying you say Anil is equal to employee. You wrote it, right?
Uh-huh.
So I'm trying to ask you if you can merge Anil is equal to employee and Anil dot show values
no.
in one step.
No, you can't do that. Because I'll tell you why. See, every object will occupy a different space in the memory, correct? Correct. See, what is an object? An object is basically, it is nothing but, it is an element of Python which will occupy the space in the memory. So, once I am calling the show values method of a particular object, it has to retrieve the values from the memory and display it for you. So you have to call it twice. You cannot call it in a single statement. Okay. So,
So I mean, maybe I'm thinking too much here.
No problem.
So we will use the same method when there is a database, you'll connect and then you assign values to all. How do you create multiple objects, like a list you have?
Huh.
Is that something?
No, come again. I didn't get you. What is it?
Like you created 2 objects only, right?
Uh-huh.
Let's say Anil and Kiran.
Huh?
Now let's say you have a database where you have like hundreds of employees.
Huh?
How do you go about creating objects in that case? Is that something you'll cover in the future classes? Or?
No,
I
no.
think we have to use reusability. Can we use reusability?
No. What he's trying to tell us, see, what I have to do is, see that database is there, no? So what I have to do, I have to extract individual record one by one. Okay, so in that individual record, there I have to convert that one of the columns into the object.
Okay. Makes sense.
So you got that table is there, no? We call that table as a relation. So I have to convert that one of the column into that particular object and call these methods.
Got it.
Yeah, reusability also is a correct term.
Yeah, so I thought, we can use that to extract any number of objects.
Exactly. Okay, got it?
Yeah.
So try these.
Like we got it.
No, that's why I want you to try it once. Because you know what happens at this, superficially you would have understood this when I tell you.
Yeah.
So only when you type the program, I think you will face challenges.
So first we'll do that and this both, or?
No. First do without constructor.
Yeah.
First you do without constructor and then finally you go with this.
Balu, I have one doubt here.
Huh.
So in this scenario, both of the, if you're using a constructor, it actually makes your job easy.
Correct.
And it saves the time, right?
Yes.
So in what cases do we use to write syntax without the constructor and with?
You should always use a constructor. You should not use this method.
Okay.
This method I just taught you to make you understand what is the advantage of using a constructor.
Okay.
So never use this method.
Okay.
Okay?
Balu?
Huh.
So I was doing this simultaneously. So my question is like, so we will create multiple classes, going back to the previous question.
Huh.
So we'll create multiple classes. One class will be with an employee name, like employee ID or whatever that is, and then you assign it to one table
Yes.
or the row or column, I mean to say. And then you create another for the salaries.
No. You
How
can't.
many terms of a database if we create?
Huh.
Is that how it goes? Or
No.
how
You cannot create multiple classes. See, for one class you should have one table.
Okay.
See, for example, let's say you have an employee class, correct? So that employee class will have employee number and it will have some details that will be actually correlated to one table of your database.
Okay.
So for that, probably you may require the parameter called DA from another table.
Okay.
So there what you have to do, you have to make use of that inheritance concept inside the class. So you'll have to make one more class which is inheriting from the parent class.
Okay.
Ah. The concept here is to make you understand why we are using an constructor in Python. And this concept is same in any programming language, but the only difference is, see, in Python you are actually telling like this, no, you are telling init. Okay, let me write a small code in Java now. Okay, don't worry about this code now. So in Java, if I create a class, the same class I'll write employee. Now if I want to create a constructor in Java, so what I will do, I will create an method called employee. That's all. I will create a method called employee in Java. So in this case, what happens? In Java, if the method name is same as that of the class name, that method is called as a constructor. That's all. This concept is same when you take either it is Java or PHP or I think even C++ also the same concept. C++ or C sharp, any of these programming languages you take, if you find that there is a method name inside a class, and if you find that method name is same as that of the class, then we call that method as a constructor method. But in Python what happened, they removed this concept. They did not want to call the method name and class name the same, so they call it as init method. Init stands for initialization, that's all. It is basically used to initialize the members of that particular class. Got it?
Yes. Balu, when you have time, can you show inheritance with class as an example?
That's what we are going to do in the next coming sessions.
Okay.
You Venkat, you are actually jumping 2 steps ahead.
I know why.
Don't worry, we'll cover that. In fact, there's I'll show you how to create single inheritance, then multi-level inheritance, multiple inheritance. Okay, right. Did you try this 2 code now, or you want me to give some time to try this out?
Yes, brother.
Please. Can you tell me what is that function now? I just gave 2 functions there. Can you just go back? We did something in the previous sections. I told you something about that ID. What is that?
No,
Is
can
the
you
type
answer the
within
question?
type?
Sorry?
Is the type within type?
No. I think when you are writing the program, add these 2 commands also. Print. Then I'll explain you what is it. ID.
Oh, Balu, I think I'm stuck here. I
Huh.
need your help.
ID is for the memory allocation, right?
Exactly. It is the space where that Anil object is stored. And it's the space where that memory location where that Kiran object is stored.
This is what you said for where it is stored in your RAM, right?
Exactly. It will be stored randomly. Somebody was asking me something. Where you got stuck?
One second, I'm sharing my screen.
Let me stop sharing my screen.
Whatever that I remember, I wrote this. I don't know if it's right or wrong.
Okay, don't worry. Trial and error.
Yeah. Can you see my screen?
Yes, yes. Actually, what you have done, you have not indented. That Python is equal to training you are given, no? Just pull it, indent it below the class.
This one?
Take that line below the class of training. Exactly, it should be in the same line. Go, no, backside. Full, yes. Even that Java is equal to the same thing.
Oh. This is
Yes,
going
yes,
to be-
yes, very much. And same with that also. Now run the code. What it's saying? Training takes no arguments.
Yeah.
Okay, see, you are telling, okay. See what mistake you have done, I'll tell you. You are telling Python is equal to training 101 comma 1000. Am I right?
Yeah. So one is ID, training ID, and the other one is cost.
See, I told you that when you are passing the values, when the object is being created, you have to use a constructor.
Okay.
Here you are not using a constructor, you are using the assign values method.
Okay.
So if you want this program to work, then remove that assign value name there, and instead of that you just write it as underscore init underscore, it will work.
Okay. So Balu, before that, let's say I want to use this assign value first, and then again I'll do it using that. So
Then what you have to do, you remove those values there, 101 and 1000 first. Make
Okay.
it even the second line also, remove that. Now go to the next line, press enter after training. Now using the Python object, call the assign value method, python dot
okay.
assign value,
Assign value.
and then send the values.
Okay. Assign value dot now on not one comma.
Yes. Then enter.
Can I run it now?
No, you have to give
Java is okay.
because you are using that now.
Now the constructor is making sense to me because
Yeah.
yeah.
Now you run the code. See?
Hmm.
Now you modify the code, or you write a separate program.
No,
However,
this one only will change. We just have to remove these two and give values there, and
Yeah.
we have to. Right?
delete that. Now make that as a constructor.
Yeah.
Only remove that assign value and make it init. Oh, you remove the whole thing.
Underscore
init
INIT
underscore. Open the parenthesis, self,
cell
Comma.
Excel.
comma x, comma y.
Yeah.
Run it now.
Oh, you forgot to put the colon after it.
Oh yeah.
I can't see that. Okay, run. That's it.
Set. Got it.
So concept clear?
Yes, well.
Akshay?
Yes, Balu.
Okay, good. Now, okay, you stop sharing your screen. Okay, so we understood what is an instance variable. We understood what is a constructor. Okay, now we shall see what is a class variable. Very important. Okay, so in order to understand what is a class variable, so let's take one example. So what do you think would be a class variable? So I can write here a variable which is common to all objects, that's all. So what is a class variable? It's a variable which is actually common to all objects. So when you take the earlier example, instance variables were not common to all objects, values are different, employee number is different, salary is different, and it depends upon from which object you are calling. See, if I want to know how many objects are there in my program, so you created say 2 objects, no? So I wanted to know how many objects are there in my program. So what I will do is I'll create one variable called as say employee count. I'll call one variable as employee count. So this employee count variable should be incremented. When you create Anil object, it should increment by 1. When I create Kiran object, it should increment by 2. When I create one more object, it should increment by 3. So that means it is not actually being referred or instantiated by any object. It is a object, it is a variable which is actually consistent for all the objects. So that is what is the meaning of class variables. So you will understand that when I show you one example. So let me type one program and see whether that is working or not. So what I will do is I'll just create one class variable now. Okay, creating of class variables in Python. Okay, so we'll take the same class called employee. Now I'll have the init method. Okay, init method. So we'll take the same 2 things, x comma y, then I can say self dot emp number equals x and self dot salary equals y. So here, before defining this constructor, I will have one variable called emp count, and that will be, I'll give that value as 0. So we will see what is the meaning of this. Now remember, this emp count, what I am defining here, this is called as an class variable. This is called as a class variable. Whereas emp number and salary, they are called as instance variables. Okay. Now what I will do here is, if I want to access that emp count, I have to make use of the class name. So I'll say employee dot emp count is equal to employee dot emp count plus 1. So you'll understand what is the meaning of this. Then I'll define one more method. So show values. So in show values, I am going to print emp number equals self dot emp number and print salary equals self dot salary. Okay, we are done with this. Now let's create an object for employee Anil, and let's pass the values now. Okay, now using Anil object, I will call this show values, and using Kiran object, I will call this show value. But I forgot to write one more function So we'll have one more function called show emp count. Emp count. So here I'll say print total number of employees, comma, self dot emp count. I think that should complete my program. Okay, let's hope it works. So let me run this. So I didn't call that method. So Anil dot show emp count. Okay. So first observe this program. I think till here you are clear. EMP number is 101, salary is 10,000. Now you can observe here it's saying total number of employees 2. So let's say that I create one more employee. Okay. Now add one more employee called okay, we'll add one more employee. Now if I run this, so you can see that total number of employee is 3. So it's actually counting the number of objects. So how is this program working? So this is what you have to understand now. This is the concept of a class variable. Okay, so we'll go line by line. First I am declaring one variable called employee count is equal to 0. Now this variable is declared not within the function, it is declared outside the function. Now I have a constructor function. You know what is this constructor function? Inside the constructor function I am giving employee dot employee count is equal to employee dot employee count plus 1. So we'll see what is this. Then you know what is show value. Then also know what is show emp count. So what happens when I create an object? When I say Anil is equal to employee, an object is created. So now you know when an object is created, a constructor is called. So this constructor is called. So what happens in this constructor? X and Y are initialized, but at the same time you see here what is happening. Employee dot employee count is equal to employee dot employee count plus 1. So you are initializing the value of employee count to 1. Earlier it was 0. So 0 plus 1 is 1. But when you are incrementing the value of employee count, you are not incrementing it through the object. You never said self dot employee count is equal to self dot employee count plus 1. So if you do like that, it becomes an instance variable. Employee count is not an instance variable, it's a class variable. So you have to always refer that employee count using a class name. So that's why you said employee dot employee count. So employee is the name of the class, employee count is the name of the class variable, is equal to employee dot employee count plus 1. So you are incrementing the value of employee count by 1. So where are you giving this statement? Wantonly you are giving it within a constructor. Why are you giving it within a constructor? Because you know that when an object is created, a constructor is called. At the same time, you want to increment the value of an employee count. So that means when an object is created, a constructor is called. Within the constructor, you are incrementing the value of employee count by 1. So as and when you are creating the objects, the employee count variable keeps on incrementing by 1. So if you create 4 objects, 4 times the employee count will be incremented by 1. So employee count becomes equals to 4. Now, how are you printing this? See, this is the function called show emp count, correct? So when I want to print it, I want to access this method from an object only. Using any object you can print. It's not that you have to print only using Anil. Suppose if I access this using Varun object, sorry, it is Vasan object, even then I am going to get the same output only. So when I run this, I am going to get the total number of employees 3. That means this particular method has to be actually displayed to you, or it has to be executed to you. We know that if you have to execute a method, you have to do it using an object. So using one of the object, I am actually calling that particular method. So self.emp count, which means that automatically it will display the value of employee count. So here one thing you have to understand, that employee count is actually an class variable, which means it will be it will be applicable for the entire class rather than a particular instance. So this is a very important concept in object oriented programming, the difference between a class variable and an instance variable.
So Balu, so will there be any scenario wherein we can print class variable without using the program for all the printing all the objects? So reason why I'm asking is this: you said that whenever we want to define a class variable, it has to be the name of that class instead of self, right? So now, let's say I don't want salary and employee number, all this information, but I just need total number of employees only. So in that case, define show employee count. How do we write this? Will it still be same, or how does this work?
What you want to do, I didn't understand that. You don't want this employee number, the self, then you remove those statements, self.emp number is equal to X. That's all. Simply say employee.employee count is equal to employee.employee count plus 1. That's it.
Okay.
So just comment it in your program and say it will work.
Yeah. So I simultaneously done, but I just wanted to ask you.
No problem. So in that case, you are only counting the number of employees. That's all. You are not worried about the other properties.
Yeah.
Correct?
So you have to declare the class variable. I mean, you can call it using any of the objects. Is that how it works?
Yes, you can, because you have to call it using any of those objects.
And is that the reason why we are saying define show employee count parenthesis self?
That is the reason. Yes. Self.emp count. Correct.
Okay.
Can you think of any practical implementation where do we use a class variable?
I was doing it simultaneously.
You are getting an error?
Balu, I just have a question here. I just put in the same thing. I did not get total number of VMPS 3. I got the rest of the output.
Have you called the method?
Yeah, I did. I pasted the entire syntax in the chat.
Hold on, wait, let me check. Where is my?
S dot on show employee count.
That's what I'm thinking. You are not displaying this method, Akshay, show employee count. You have to say wasn't dot show employee count, which you have missed.
Okay.
You have defined the method, but you haven't called it.
Okay.
So it will come. The same concept in other programming languages, we call it as static. See, I'll tell you, this is again a solid interview question. When you go for Python interview, explain the difference between a class variable and an instance variable. Okay, so you should be able to explain what is a class variable and what is an instance variable in Python. Akshay got the output or still finding it difficult?
Got it, Balu.
Okay. So, Okay, so we understood what is a class variable, we understood what's an instance variable, we understood what are constructors. Okay, so next class I'll tell you how to delete an object, okay, then how to change the properties of an object. Then after that we will directly go up into single inheritance. First we shall do single inheritance, then we will see what is multi-level inheritance, then multiple inheritance. Clear?
Good. Yeah.
Okay, we'll stop here. So next class would be on Wednesday.
Sure, Mark. Thank you.
Bye bye.
Thank you.
Bye bye. Good day.
Thank you.
Bye. Good day. Bye.
Have a good
Bye.